Hey everyone that's tuned in to watch this video, either if you're in another time zone, another part of the world, I am back. I took a little bit of a hiatus, but I'm happy to return. And for those of you that have watched my videos and left comments and everything, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And today's interview will be very special because we have a very special guest. That is Red Pill. American, thank you so much for coming on. And Red Pill, if you don't mind, maybe telling us a little bit about yourself, like who you are.
Okay, so firstly, I'm 21 years old. I was born and raised in Texas near San Antonio, if you know where that is. Right now, I'm a lifeguard. I'm in college. I'm majoring in biology. And that's like the brief introduction of me. I think that's like anything more to that.
Oh, well, that's cool. I didn't know you grew up in San Antonio. It's really unfortunate to hear what happened outside of that. It's really crazy.
I was just there 2 days ago in Uvalde.
Oh, seriously?
I was there, like, get pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like, this country's like grieving right now.
Yeah.
But yes, you grew up in San Antonio. That's pretty neat. Like I've always heard like really great things about that city. And I've heard that there's a lot of people from like Mexico and like parts of Central and South America that grew up there too. So how you enjoyed it for the most part growing up in southern Texas?
Yeah, pretty sweet. It's pretty diverse, sort of.
Yeah, it's a diverse place. That's cool. Good. How do you like being a lifeguard? You've been doing that for a while?
Yeah, I'm a pretty good swimmer, and I just liked it because like they train you for free where I worked at my local pool. So it's a pretty sweet job. You get paid pretty good to basically do nothing. Unless it gets serious, then it's pretty serious. Like I've had to save a couple people. Like CPR, wow. Drowning people, so it's a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard it's pretty good. And then with biology, do you hope to go into like medical?
Definitely not a doctor or a nurse or anything like that. I don't want to do that.
Sure.
I thought about animals or like horses, but I don't know.
Okay, so maybe the veterinarian route.
Yeah, maybe.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, thanks for telling our audience a little bit about yourself. Well, let's move on to your TikToking, your videos and whatnot. I just recently discovered you thanks to a close friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about like your content and whatnot. Like, so what do you provide that our audience can learn about you?
What do I provide?
So what can you like to provide for our audience so we can like learn about you, like your content? Like
So I'll talk about like how I got into it, like you said. I used to watch your videos and like I used to watch like Hatapa's videos, like the twins and like Quatley and all that, like all those people, like the detribalized people and reconnect natives. I saw all those videos on YouTube. I thought that was awesome. And then I basically got really into that, like on my journey, you know what I mean? And all the people around me kind of thought I was crazy, So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to make my own YouTube channel, and then didn't get a lot of views at all. And I was, I'm going to make an Instagram. Didn't get any views. And my friend was like, oh, like, just get a TikTok, dude. Like, the algorithm goes crazy on there. And I was like, no, dude, like, TikTok is for losers. Like, I didn't want to get it at all. Like, I hated TikTok, like, for years. But I got it. And it kind of blew up, so I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
My big thing on there is like semantics, like of terminology we use that we're raised to grow up with that is completely obsolete and is almost like propaganda against all of us, and that's my big thing. And I would make other videos that, to try to get a lot of views, to like spread that kind of stuff. So I hope people see like the more important videos I have and not just the ones that do well,
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I've seen your videos. I've enjoyed them a lot. It's
Thank you.
funny. Yeah, of course. And I'm really happy to know that Juan and I like really influenced you to like want to start this. So
Yeah.
it's cool to know about that. I was going to ask about your friends. Like, were your friends also from like Mexican American like or diverse backgrounds as well, or did they? So I was curious because maybe they were taught differently, or were they just non-native people at all?
So they were just raised like your basic, like, yeah, like Mexican American, Hispanic, and like a basic Tejano, basically.
Hmm.
I grew up in a small like ranching town. It's called Hondo. I don't live there, so I'll tell you, it's Hondo, Texas, where I grew up. And it's pretty diverse, like, and not diverse. It was just we were intermixed with white people. Like it was a very clear, like, you're white kids, here are like the Mexican kids, you know. Like, oh, I'm just a Mexican, you know what I mean? And then not really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all just kind of thought that way. And it's kind of funny. So basically, I really got into this whenever, it sounds kind of silly, but my friend went on this bike trip after graduation, after high school graduation, and he went to his family on a reservation. He had family up there, like distant family, and he grew out his hair over there. So I was like, damn, that's badass, And then he was like, dude, you should grow out your hair, because I used to always get my hair cut like in a military cut. My family's military. I always just had it like that. One time they messed it up so bad, I had to go bald. So now I'm bald in college. COVID just kicked off. So I decided this is the perfect time to grow out my hair. And so then I kind of had like this dysmorphia, you know what I mean? Because like the longer my hair would get, the more native I'd look. People would talk shit. They'd call me Pocahontas. They would call me like Squanto, like all this stuff. And then my friend would be like, oh, dude, like you're native too. And I was just like, I didn't know what to think. You know what I mean? It was 2020. You know how rowdy that was. And then I was having like this identity crisis. So it was pretty wild, but that's how I first got into it and how my perspective changed. And now my friends kind of see what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, we're indigenous. Like, even though we have Spanish names and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's cool that your friends are able to like listen and maybe see themselves as native too, because there's a whole like Hispanic Latino narrative that we're taught. Um, Even me myself as an adoptee as well. Um, and it's really hard to detract yourself from something that's been so ingrained in your mind forever. And it's the media, it's the education system, or it's even like your own family members sometimes, you know? Um,
I know, yeah.
yeah. So I really commend you for doing that, because it takes a lot of like bravery, because a lot of people will look at you like, wait, what? I'm fortunate to have like a pretty supportive like base of people. Hence why I was able to like get this channel started with my friend. But for a lot of people, it's like, oh, you're crazy. You're not native. You're like Hispanic. But then you like go into like the rabbit hole of like, okay, well, what the heck is a Hispanic? Like, are we just going to ignore the biological makeup of like, who our ancestors are?
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know, decide to put ourselves into this like mestizaje sort of like thinking style, like Latino style, and it's
Yeah.
hard. You're gonna say something?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Um, so yeah, it can be hard to want to start on that journey because people can get ridiculed a lot.
Yeah. I got ridiculed heavy, so, but it's whatever. Worked out.
Definitely. Yeah, it worked out, man. I mean, I enjoy, like I said, your videos. You got a good, like, what, I think 10,000 people that are following you. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. I hope more will after seeing this, seeing this video. Yeah. Um, but then going on, I wanted to talk about you know, the haters, like,
Hey,
the people that, or maybe like, Juan and I have, encountered people that gatekeep. So maybe you've also encountered that as well on TikTok, again, like other people that just hate. So do you mind like maybe talking a little bit about that, please?
so would you like me to get into haters in general, haters first, or straight to like other native gatekeepers? Because there's plenty of each.
let's go on the haters route first.
Hate in general.
Yeah, just haters in general.
I've had some experience like with racist white people like in real life, and that's
Oh,
pretty like that's pretty scary for sure. But on TikTok, not many white people. I mean, there's some, like probably got like a Confederate flag up on the wall in their room, got a problem with
sure.
me. And then there's these people who are like I guess you could call them African American traditionally, and they believe that African. For those who don't know, they're called Wabus or Wabus, wannabe indigenous people is what it means. And they basically say that like Africans are actually indigenous to America, and I'm like a fraud. They're probably the loudest, but the most,
Seriously?
yeah, for me, yeah,
You're
yeah.
such a young new account. How do they find you?
They found me, dog. But the most destructive, I think, that some people are realizing in this little community on TikTok, indigenous, are other indigenous haters who are maybe like more qualified, like they seem like more connected. They're called connective natives for those who don't know. And they're like raised in a tribe where they can trace their roots back to an existing one. And they're just more cultured at the end of the day. And they'll try to say like, oh, you're not legit, you're not a real indigenous person. And that, I mean, that's pretty suck, like, because you already have to grapple with this imposter syndrome already. So now these people who you kind of look up to and you watch their videos and stuff are now denouncing you. That's not a good feeling, and it might make you just want to quit. Me, nah, I'm good, but those haters are pretty hateful.
You're a brave man.
No, I'm
Still
not.
keep on going. It's hard for
Yeah.
a lot of people.
So yeah, mind games. That's all
Mind
it is.
games. Yeah, the mind
Like
games.
warfare is always being waged on you. When you're like coming out of this mestizaje mindset. When
Yeah,
you're
yeah, when you're decolonizing. Yeah, definitely. And it's hard because you feel like you're doing the right thing, and you meet people online, like for your the people that you've encountered on TikTok that just like want to put you down, want to say that you're doing it wrong, when you know that in your heart and your mind that you're right. People just get mad. And I think maybe we could possibly add this in here, which I didn't add to our script, and that is just like a lot of people that you've been attacked by, particularly those that are native or like gatekeeper-ish, are like really on the far like left-leaning spectrum. Would you agree?
for sure, yeah, they're very like overboard with it. I mean, it's just like when people are too far to the right, they become like fascist. Like when you go too extreme, it's
Sure.
just destructive. Yeah, and I can definitely attest to that. Like they are too leftist. They buy in too much to like to the point of racism, pretty much, in defense of people of color. So it's like pretty bad.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder, like, where we're going for the younger society.
I'm not
But
going. Yeah,
so you're not going nowhere?
I'm not going that way. I'm
Oh,
going
that
that.
way. Yeah, definitely. Sorry, your volume, I apologize, is cut out a little bit like on your final words sometimes. So that's why I like asked to repeat. But yeah, no, I'm glad you're not going that way. Same here. Yeah. So what would you say is like the hardest part then of like running the TikTok? Like, is it just like the words, or is it just like your time? Is that the hardest part? Is it like the content, like ideas that you have to think of, things like that?
No, I got plenty of ideas,
Good.
plenty of things to talk. I could milk this so hard, but like I said, it's the psychological warfare. It's the mind games. Like going into it, I thought the hardest thing was gonna be like getting the approval of like the northern natives that are from reservations and whatnot. I thought they were gonna like ridicule me the hardest because people who are like Mexican ridiculed me, people who are white ridiculed me, everyone around me in person ridiculed me. So I'm thinking like, man, like if I put myself out there on the internet and these people from reservations, like the real natives, crap talking me, like, then that's really gonna kill any confidence I'm gonna have in this, you know. But surprisingly, a lot of these people do support me. You know, the only real I've had from indigenous people are like southern natives, you know, people like south of the US border. But I mean, it's not a big deal. Like it's whatever, you know.
Are they from like communities, or those just like Southern natives that just like aren't like connected?
They are connected. They're from communities. They're
Okay.
connected. Their thing is they say that like, oh, I'm connected and you are not. Things are different down here in the South. I'm like, I know. Like, and the ironic thing is they refer to mestizaje. They say, you are a mestizo, not a real indigenous person like me. So what they do is they flip that mestizaje hierarchy on its head. And then now they're saying like, oh, like I'm this real indigenous person and you are a step beneath me because you're like half colonizer. And for generations, your family has gone by colonizer names. They've been Hispanic. Therefore, you are a colonizer. And it's like, dog, like I'm trying to decolonize right now, you know, and you're like putting me down and discouraging others from decolonizing. And that is obviously destructive to this community. So
I agree. And I mean, I understand that like those from communities, uh, particularly down from the South, have probably had issues with people that, maybe see themselves as mestizos, you know, but at the same time, you know, them treating you that way is really uncalled for. And it's racist too, you know? Um,
yeah, it's literally racist. And like I said, it's ironic because the whole point is to decolonize. The whole point is to stop being that way. So if they're like, oh no, you need to stay that way. It's just like,
yeah.
because you're not as legit as me. You know, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, like,
Yeah, I'll say something like the most, how would I say, ridiculous, like not ridiculous, really difficult gatekeeper I've dealt with was back on my Reddit days. And I was really like crazy back then, like trying to get my channel, like, you know, people notice and whatnot. And I don't know if he was in Navajo or somewhere, but he just like straight up said that, like, look, I don't see you guys as native as, at all. Um, and just like said all these like really hurtful things. Eventually we came to a compromise, and
really.
we were cool at the end. But just like I understand like where you're coming from,
Mhm.
you know, in those regards, because people can say some pretty spiteful things. Um, but it's our own, how would I say, motivation, just our will to continue to move forward in the face of this sort of adversity. Um, so yeah, again, kudos to you. And then, you know, TikTok itself is just a really, I'll say it's a pretty big rabbit hole. And I've seen things, man. Like I've seen people go after like others. I've seen everything. And to be honest, like I didn't want to go on a TikTok at all. I was convinced to. I was persuaded to. But I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm thankful that I made it. But it can be a toxic place. So, what would you say is like the worst thing about like, now not just your content in general, just like just being a TikToker, like things that you see is just like people going after each other, just like the drama.
Yeah, people try to cancel
TikTok.
you, and it's like pretty much just cancel culture. But they can like rally their followers, and they'll all just like spam comments on you. So like
Yeah,
that's bad as it gets. It's like toxic in terms of like their attitude and say, but ultimately it's like they're just words, dog. You know. But yeah, they are pretty toxic.
they will find ways to like bring you down, you know, get you
Yeah.
canceled, report you, mass report, like anything they can to like mentally and I guess in some ways technologically destroy you. Um,
A video taken down. It was like controversial that basically like it was basically to piss off the people that got pissed off. I like targeted them in this video, and it got taken down, and then TikTok put it back up. So what does that tell you? I didn't really violate any community guidelines. I was just reported that many times. So like they have the followers and the know-how to really like rally people against you, which is pretty funny. They have time.
You got back on. Yeah.
But I don't trip about it anymore. They're clowns,
And you know what I've learned is like the more popular you get, like the more things that you'll encounter, like the negative types of people. But that's just that's the whole thing about being more popular is you're gonna get some hate sometimes, and you just gotta have some thick skin to move through.
Whatever. I don't care.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So the third part, and this is like the reconnecting thing. I think we kind of like briefly discussed about this in the beginning. Just like the reconnecting journey, and I'm curious, like in your eyes, like what is reconnecting for someone? Let's say like you're meeting someone who's really curious, like interested, but wants like a good like explanation. So I'm just curious on your end, like how would you
reconnect is something. Here's my definition, my own subjective viewpoint on it. I think reconnecting is finding out what tribe you belong to through genealogy or straight up whoever wants to claim you. And then you go to this tribe or community and you basically just do things their way. That's how I see it. Now, me personally, I would not consider myself a reconnecting native because I haven't gone far enough in genealogy to find a tribe. And even if I did, they might not exist. I've kind of hit a wall. I'm still looking, you know what I mean? So like I'm like a detribalized person for those who don't know. I don't have a tribe. I'm disconnected, right? So if I find a tribe that claims me or I belong to and they accept me, then I could reconnect and do things their way, learn their language, customs, religion, wisdom, philosophy, and that'd be cool. I haven't found that yet. So.
Good, thank you. I'm sure you'll find it eventually. I hope the best for you. Here's my little brain picker question I like to give guests, and that is like, what if it's someone that just has no access to like any tribal like history at all, or if it's someone maybe such as myself is like adopted, where we don't have any like family records whatsoever. I'm just curious, like, how would you,
like it's completely lost the time. Like you are going to be.
Would you still say they have an opportunity, or they are, like, in some ways?
I guess there's a chance that somebody might claim you.
Sure.
But that's about it. I mean, you're not going to find connection. You can just hope that somebody will claim you. You can marry into it. I'm just trying to think to get back to it. Because I mean, if you think that way, if you like serve that path, I'm pretty sure they're going to like you. So maybe you could get in that way. You could just try to join. But yeah, I mean, but my big thing is that like to be indigenous, you don't need like a tribe. That's a crazy high standard to set. Like, oh, you need to be born in a tribe to be indigenous. In fact, that standard would be so high that to impose it would be genocide. And that's the point. You know what I mean? Because if you can say, oh, you're not indigenous because you're not from a tribe, well, you just eliminated like 90% of potential indigenous people, which if I'm like some rich racist white guy who's trying to decimate the Native American population, that's exactly what I want. You know what I mean? So it's super counterproductive to think that like you need to be like super legit to be indigenous. Like you don't, you know what I mean? You just need to be connected to claim a tribe. That at the end of the day, that's it, But for me to claim a tribe, that would be completely inappropriate. You know what I mean? If you're not from one, don't claim it, don't appropriate it or whatever. But you don't need a tribe to be indigenous. That's my big thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. It's kind of a surprise question. So I really enjoyed your answer. Response.
Cool. Thought about this a lot.
Oh no, it's all good. No worries. Now, there was a certain point where maybe you saw yourself as like Hispanic, like Latino person, yeah, for like a good portion of your life.
Yeah. So like my like my whole life, yeah.
Yeah. And did you, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, did your family ever say anything like before you started, your journey about like seeing yourself as native at all,
Did
or
they
was it just
before?
yeah before? Like, did they ever mention anything, or was it always just strictly like you're a Mexican
Oh,
person,
just
or not Mexican, Mexican American? Yeah,
yeah, you're a Mexican, even though you're not from Mexico.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
well, yeah.
Or Hispanic American, or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I guess my other question was like, what's the most interesting point like you found on your like reconnecting journey so far?
Well, there is a reconnecting journey that I've really embarked on. I haven't found a tribe,
Yeah.
but I guess you mean like decolonization.
Yeah. What have you learned like from
So
since you started to now?
my big thing is semantics, like dismantling all these words that are used that are almost like propaganda, because I'm not trying to figure out like, okay, like who am I then? You know, I'm not a Mexican. I'm not from that's a nation. Mexico is a nation. It's a country. So like if you're from that nation, that's your national. That's not me. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not a Mexican. What am I? Oh, I'm an American. Okay, but America is not a country. It's the United States of America, which is the whole damn thing in North America and South America. So then like I really started to break it down. You know what I mean? Because like all these people argue and they don't even have their words right. And I think that's pretty important. Like you need to have like basic words in order. Like, okay, so I'm Hispanic technically. Like I guess like Hispanic's like a colonial word, but like I would still consider myself like Hispanic at the end of the day. I'm not gonna like proudly claim that or something. Like it's something to be proud of, but it's just a fact, you know what I mean? And that's just what I think. Like there needs to be a concrete foundation of all these words and what their definitions are, you know. Because like a lot of people, like a lot of like white people in the US, they don't want to be racist, but they're just white, you know what I mean? And they'll say, like, oh, I'm an American. And it's like, not really, you're like a European that's living here. You know what I mean? Like I'm an American. This is what Americans look like. These are American features. You know what I'm saying?
Indigenous native person. Yeah.
Yeah. And some people will say like, oh, well, why do you call it America? Isn't that named after Amerigo Vespucci? He's Italian. Why are you calling your land something named after a white guy? And it's like, I get what you're saying, you know what I mean? But like we're speaking English, so what does it matter? Like this is a colonial language. Like if you go completely extremist, anti-colonial, I'm not gonna have a language to speak. Like, I don't know an indigenous language, so it's gonna take some like slowly peeling back the layers. We can't just go full decolonial. It just wouldn't work, in my opinion.
But
It's gonna be like
sorry.
it's gonna be like a process.
Yeah. I mean, we can't just like abandon English, right?
Yeah, dude, like we don't even have a common language. Even if you do speak an indigenous language, like what do
Yeah. Yeah. It's a process.
yeah.
There's a lot of steps to take. Um, I think I saw one of your videos or pictures where you were fishing. Were you doing something fishing?
When I was fishing?
Yeah, I thought I saw a post that you had made, and I don't know if that it did
So
relate to. Yeah.
the one with like the spear thing? Okay, yeah. So like 3 days ago, me and my friends went through Uvalde and we went to the Nueces River, which is kind of north of it. And we were just like screwing around, hanging out at the river, like jumping off this dam. It was fun. And then I found this piece of bamboo. I sliced up the end, cut it in three bits to make like three prongs, and I
Mhm.
sharpened I pointed it up so you could like stab a fish. That was about it. And then my friend posted it. Then we went back through Uvalde, and then yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I thought you were trying to use like indigenous fishing techniques.
No, not that deep. No, I just saw it on a Survivor Man one time when I was little.
Okay.
yeah, there was no indigenous meaning to that. You know, like it was just like moving around.
Okay, cool. I shouldn't take all your videos.
Yeah.
Like, native things. Cool. In that case, do you have any questions for me so far? We're about at the end here.
Are you reconnecting?
That's a good question. Yeah, I will say for an adoptee, it's very hard when you don't have like records to, find out like where you came from. Like I know that I was born in Peru, very like indigenous place. And I would say, yeah, everyone starts on their journey from somewhere at some point, regardless of how old they are. So I try my best to just tell myself that, what I'm doing is, really opening the eyes of a lot of people and knowing that through these videos, like through these interviews that I have, like we're helping people out and seeing like who they really are. And when we do that, we're bringing ourselves together. And what happens after that? Where, how would I say, that you build a camaraderie. And with this camaraderie, we can do a lot of great things, especially for people that are more underprivileged, particularly in Native communities. And I think we saw that perhaps a few months ago, or I'd say last year, when we like talked about like certain indigenous issues that were going on. We tried to like have people support that and like donate if they could. And you do things like that, I think it really brings people together. So I would like to say that I'm reconnecting, and sure, not in a traditional way, but I'm doing it in the best way that I can as someone that is an adoptee that will never probably find their any biological like records. So I would say I am. And again, we all come from somewhere, and we all start in some unique way. But if it's to benefit, like particularly like Native communities, people that are less fortunate, then I would say that you are reconnecting. So yeah, I like that question. Thank you. I hope I answered it in the best way I could.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much the closing of the interview. So you and anything else? Thank you so much for coming on, Red Pill.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, those that are watching, please, or that have watched, I should say, check out Red Pill's TikTok account that I'll put in the bio.
Check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. That being said, you guys have a good night, morning, wherever you are. And I'll say adios.